And now it's the matter of kind of combining both of those outlooks and making sure that they understand that, support individually for their roles is also supporting their collective, managerial experience or collective, responsibilities. And then beyond that stage, I would say, yeah, let's back to kind of what I was alluding to before is, yeah, let's start simple. Let's start easy, right? Let's start with one project. Let's start with one region, just depending on the structure. So those are the elements I'd say is to find improve ways that your product or service will support leadership, find ways your product and service will support the operators, then combine the two and start simple.
I mean, simplicity is, and it goes back to, like you said, your user interface. It can't be the work that we do in engineering and construction is not simple per se. It's not
Correct.
overly hard. If you think about it logically, it's you're putting things together to finish a product, and it's just like going through the Lego set when you were a kid
Right.
that had 73 steps. Like you finish it, you're just building on each previous step.
Hmm.
And we don't think about it as that simple a lot of the times, even though it
Right.
really is. I mean, I've done talks and I've worked with people on stormwater, and they're like, stormwater is so complicated, it's so hard, and I don't understand this. And I'm like, stormwater is two things: slow it down and clean it on the way. Like
Totally.
fundamentally, that's it. How we
Hmm.
execute that is exceptionally hard, but fundamentally, all stormwater design is slow it down and clean it on the way so that you're not polluting the downstream properties and creating erosion and things like that. But the execution is not that simple sometimes.
Definitely. It's a great analogy. And just to even, double down on that is to say, even if you want to believe, and even if it is the case where, the execution is complicated, or even the steps before it are complicated, well, let's support your complications with simplicity, right? With technology, which is what it's supposed to do, right? Tech is supposed to simplify your life, like a smartphone, for example, right?
So technology has evolved and it's evolving rapidly.
Hmm.
We're in the spring of 2023. We're just coming out of whatever you want to call the past 3 years. Uh, I question what the industry would look like if this happened 20 years ago.
Hmm.
Because when I came into the industry, it took hours to get a print set. It
Hmm.
took just because the technology wasn't there. But
Hmm.
even the meetings and the technological advances that happened over the past 3 years in the workforce and the hybrid or remote work or telework and all of those different things that have been affected, whether we like it or not. But how do you see like technology of the future, and
Hmm.
where do you see some of this going, maybe from the digital transformation that with AI and other aspects like uh, I don't want to say people are going to be out of jobs, but I feel like those not so hard things will be done by computers at some point, but that's my opinion, but I'd be curious what your opinion is.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. A hot topic, I think, for all industries, also, right? So the way I kind of see it is, again, recognition of kind of the difference that is, construction and development, where you have to transfer, design, so paper or whatever files into tangible items. So that exists, and the cross collaboration exists too. And I bring up those points because it's interesting to kind of perceive a future of this AI tech robotics without the necessity of people, because it's going across companies, right? So maybe if you had a completely internal vertical team from develop construction through development, et cetera, where you're literally one company and you could centralize all of those AI tech functions, then maybe there's kind of that future where you're really leveraging technology. Um, Otherwise, I'll kind of go into where I believe the industry will go. I think first and foremost, there needs to be a standardization, or at a minimum expectation that everybody's using a management product, right? So when you go to start a job, you should expect that there's going to be a command center where everyone is going to communicate from, and that's going to be pulling data into, right? So that would be step one. Step two from that, what I can see is there's a lot of specific technologies that support a lot of specific functions that could integrate into that command center technology and then disperse to everyone else. So, for example, it could be, let's say, safety technology, it could be ESG technologies, it could be um, really robust kind of scheduling, understanding. So just a few examples of many. So that's how I see the industry going, right? Is that you go onto a project, a job site, there's that command center, that's just their standard. From there, each company could be leveraging their own tools. So that's all to say that I think efficiency will increase a lot, and maybe a single individual will be able to do more. I mean, that should be the case. Um, if they're leveraging technology. However, I can't see it being completely replaced by robots. That's me at least. I think modular is a more of a direction that the industry could go.
No, I think that's great. That's great advice. I mean, every time I have conversations on this topic or a lot of topics, like my head is spinning right now, and I'm sure our listeners are too, with ideas and thoughts about what and where and how and when and all those different aspects of
Mhm.
trying to forecast, and it's virtually impossible to forecast exactly where we're going and what we're doing. But I just want to take a step back, because we
Mhm.
like to include in all of our episodes what we call the power of experience segment. So some piece of advice, it can be completely unrelated to what we've talked about today, or something that you may want to pass along to the listener whose head may or may not be spinning right now,
Mhm.
to that they can take away from the episode, something that you want to pay forward, basically.
Absolutely. So something that I'm pushing to everybody I know is to get on LinkedIn, right? And that's actually how we connected. So the power of LinkedIn, the power of creating your relevant network, learning from individuals that may be ahead of you, maybe in the same stage of you, you know, uh, I think is truly a powerful tool to kind of jumpstart your career or to push your career forward to allow you to learn where in that industry you want to end up, where you want to go. So I really recommend LinkedIn. If somebody told me that a bit earlier, I would have been 100% involved at an earlier stage. So that's my piece of advice for sure.
It's great advice, great insight into the industry, the things that
Mhm.
you're doing, and what is the best way for somebody to connect with you? Should they want to get in touch or learn more about what Jet's doing, or just keep up with you?
Definitely, LinkedIn. LinkedIn. That's my answer. Yeah, yeah. Started to become very active on it, taking my own advice. So yeah, please find me on LinkedIn. Reach out. I'd be happy to hear from you.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Please remember that you can find the show notes for this show and all episodes at engineeringqualitycontrol.com. There you'll find a summary of the key points that we've discussed, along with links to both Jet and Adam's LinkedIn. Until next time, friends, I wish you the best in all of your engineering endeavors.